like to formally call the meeting of the Human Affairs Committee to order. It's Thursday, September 12th at 3:33 p.m. And first order of business is roll call. Let the record reflect Cord Bauer, Michelle Schechter, and Stuart Anderson are absent.
Jill Schechter will not be attending. Her father apparently had a seizure over the weekend.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So, to round us out, Dick Veal,
Yes.
Rosemary Salas.
Here.
Tyler Bowden.
Here.
Excellent. Who would like to lead the pledge?
Yeah.
Cord is on his way. He came to the back. He's walking around the front.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I came this way, thank goodness.
Well, I
Hey,
heard
Rosemary.
people, so I let three people
So
in,
we'll
so
just
feel free to
be
knock.
here, we won't.
I never know which way.
Okay, so who's leading?
Tyler?
Dick, you want to lead the pledge?
Hand across your heart, ready to begin. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item, approved minutes from August 8th, 2023, adjourned meeting of the Human Affairs Committee. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second?
Sure.
Thank you.
Rosemary first and
Dick, second. Thank you. And we have a special presentation from our VIP special guest, Laura Campanella, City Clerk.
So I'm passing out handouts which include the presentation I'm going to give and then sample maps for you to work on if you'd like. And Donna, I know you have this. Here's maps for me. That was great. And Councilmember Loeffler, I believe, has seen this information before. But for those of you I've not met, I'm Laura Campanolo, City Clerk. So thanks for having me at your meeting. I'm just here
Sorry,
briefly
I should've-
to talk about the transition. Here, I'll let you get started.
Thank you. Sorry, Laura.
No, it's okay.
I was just putting this down for Claire.
Sure.
Oh, you got one already?
Yeah, and we can do that. Thank you, sir.
You ready?
I'm ready, guys.
Okay.
here comes Cord, so just wait a second.
Okay. So I'm just here to briefly talk about the transition from at-large to district election, something that council voted on in August of this year. So just a brief history. In 2018, the residents of San Clemente had a ballot measure asking residents whether or not they were interested in transitioning from at-large to district elections. At that time, 70% of the voters indicated their preference was to remain at large for their elections. The initiative failed, no change to the election process occurred. Fast forward to July of this year, the city received a demand letter basically stating that the city was in violation of the California Voting Rights Act and that we should transition to at-large elections. At the very same time, 4 other South County cities received the same letter. The law offices of Michelle R. Jackson is the law firm that sent us the letter, and again, 4 other South County cities, basically all South County cities that were already not already at district elections, received that same demand letter. So where we are now, there's a host of lawsuits, as you can see. Many cities throughout the state of California have transitioned to, have received the same threats and have since transitioned to by district elections. But at this point, 3 cities have pursued court action, and to date, no city has prevailed. So you've got this information in your handout. All of those numbers are as up to date as we have been provided by our consultant at this time. But I think the bottom line is council didn't really have a choice, right? Without a hefty lawsuit or hefty legal bills. Decision of the city council. So council adopted a resolution of intention August 15th, and from there we have a safe harbor. We had 45 days from the date of receiving the letter of intent, the demand letter. That was July 10th. Council had 45 days from there to adopt a resolution of intention, and from there, 90 days after to complete the process. So it's a very, very, very short timeline. So August 15th was when the city adopted the resolution of intention and held its first public hearing. And now we've got 90 days, which is essentially November 7th, to complete the process and adopt an ordinance. And we'll go through that process a little more. I'm talking fast because I know you guys have a heavy agenda and you have a short time frame for special presentations, so feel free to stop me with questions at any time. So our key factors, what we're working on is outreach, which is the reason I'm here. Community groups, I'm happy to meet with any community groups. We've been utilizing our website, social media. We've been placing ads in San Clemente Times in Spanish and English. And we just want an open, honest dialogue and discussions with our residents. We want everyone to be very aware of what is going on.
Hey Laura, is part of the outreach to secure input for districting? Because I noticed the map
Yes.
and said community members are, welcome to submit suggestions for the districts and so forth.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll get to that.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Is San Juan, Dana Point, and everybody else doing the same thing?
San Juan and Dana Point are already by district.
Okay.
I believe the local cities are Rancho Santa Margarita, Laguna Hills. Rick, do you know?
Was it Laguna Hills or Laguna Niguel?
I think it's
One of
Laguna
them.
Niguel.
Laguna Niguel is currently in the
Is on
process. I
district,
think Laguna
So
Hills.
everybody's doing it.
Everyone's doing
They're
it.
all getting, if you don't, they're getting the letter.
60% of the cities in the state are now under districts.
Exactly.
And Huntington Beach, Santa Monica,
Is fighting it.
tried to fight it.
Yeah, that's one thing you might add in there is
Yeah.
I won't speak to the rest of city council. Santa Monica took it all the way to the state Supreme Court. And we were waiting for the decision to come back, and that was like, to me, the last lifeline. Santa Monica took to the Supreme Court and won. Maybe we could just say, screw it. So they lost. They've already spent $18 million on that suit. And so that was the last compelling factor is, we can't win this. Over 200 municipalities have been served this suit and either fought it to an extent and then settled, or just settled because they've seen what's happened to others. So it's unfortunate.
Okay. Ready to move on? So we held our second public hearing on September 5th, and that public hearing was to receive, again, public input concerning composition of potential council election districts. Council had the opportunity to choose to give non-binding direction at that meeting to our consultant to prepare maps anywhere from 4 to 9 districts with a rotating mayor, which is what we have now, or an elected mayor. At the September 5th meeting, council gave direction to the consultant, again, non-binding direction, so that could change, but council's direction at the time was to provide the consultant, or for the consultant to prepare maps with a 4-district city and an elected mayor. So that is what will be considered at the October 3rd meeting, which is our next public hearing. If council does in the end determine adopted an ordinance to go with an elected mayor, they'll decide whether or not that term is 2 or 4 years. The discussion on September 5th was that it would be an elected mayor with a 2-year term and possibly a 2-term limit. So that is the maps that are being prepared by the consultant. We are also receiving public input, and that's where if you want to take a look at the maps on the second pages, there's one in English and one in Spanish. And what it does is it outlines, it gives individuals the opportunity to draw their own districts.
What do we do about the 3 that just got on, that are on for 3 more years? So that district then can't vote for 3 more years?
Correct, yeah. So,
Now, what if they're all in the same district?
Well,
Because they all live right by each other.
right, so that's all going to be determined as part of this process. And one of the things, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but
Yeah.
one of the things that council will have to decide is the sequence of those elections. So 2024 should be we have 2 seats up in
Right.
2024.
Uh-huh.
Those seats will be filled at that time, and then 2026 will be the when we're all by district. Exactly.
And then the determination will be made whether or not the election for the mayor is 2024 or 2026.
Exactly. Yep. So that'll all be part of the sequence of elections.
And this is the basis for the rules for districting.
Correct.
Everything.
Let's
Yes.
see, what did you put? Oh,
All
yeah.
it says is numbers. It doesn't
Yeah.
say
Just
demographics. It doesn't say you can completely patchwork it all over. So District 1 can have no geographical.
Right. Well, they should be contiguous. We'll get to that.
Why?
I mean, you can suggest a map of any type. We're opening up to the public.
Yeah. Because honestly, I think the thing that really bothers me about districting, and I've had a chance to really think about this since, back in Dan Bain's days, is it's dividing the public. It's dividing the city. The city has been divided for different reasons, Talega, downtown, south, north, and whatnot. And now they want to bring in more division. It's like one thing if you have to do this, make it make no sense. Put them everywhere, so every demographic is in every single,
In every district.
Yes. Personally.
So moving on, so we've created a page on our city website, so kind of along the lines of community outreach. What we're doing is we've created a page on our city website, sancommunity.org, san-community.org district elections, and that's where you'll find everything on district elections, and we will continue to add to that as this process moves forward. There's a Spanish page and an English page trying to reach as many of our residents as possible. We're doing social media posts. Ads have been placed in the San Clemente Times in Spanish and English. We're doing that for both our legal requirements for public hearings, but also in the regular ad section of the San Clemente Times, just to catch as many residents as possible. We want, again, just as much outreach as possible, and that's why I'm here, so you can talk to your community groups. I'm open to meet with any group, any organization. I'm happy to take any phone calls. Again, just to get the word out. Another thing we've done is set up a special email address for district elections. It's district elections at san-clemente.org. We've already had several emails to that address. We've had maps, both emailed in and hand-delivered. We're getting a lot of public participation so far, so that's great. We're happy with that. The next step is informational flyers and blank maps were placed at city facilities on September 6th. So all of our city facilities, golf, beach club, Oli, the Vista Hermosa Sports Park, Community Center, Library, Animal Shelter, everyone received exactly this packet of information, several copies, about 100 at each different location. From September 6th to 14th, so that's the period that we're in now, public maps will be accepted by the city clerk via email, in-person drop-off, or regular mail. So the distinction is we'll always be accepting these public maps, but if we have them by September 14th, our consultant will then include them in his presentation at our October 3rd meeting. So
Maps are due when?
September 14th, the first round of maps. That's if you want it to be included in the first round of consideration that goes to council on October 3rd. So by September 21st, all maps, the public's input and consultant map, will be available on the city website. So that gives 7 days for, a little bit more than 7 days for the council to consider. Council will see everything in an agenda packet, but from September 14th to September 21st is when our consultant is going to put everything together. We'll place it on the website by close of business on September 21st.
Again, the lawsuit is being brought because there are certain minority groups that are underrepresented or supposedly underrepresented. So it would be the Hispanic. And if you're trying to separate that and yet keep a contiguous group to allow them to vote. How does that work in terms of a map?
Well, let's jump ahead. So creating district boundaries, you're just ahead of me. So each council district shall contain a nearly equal population. So we've got all of the populations outlined here in the map. Council districts shall be geographically contiguous to the extent practicable. The geographic integrity of any local neighborhood or community interest should be respected and included within a single district. So that doesn't speak to the demographics exactly, but it talks about maybe not separating Talega to the extent possible, or
I don't know why though.
right. It's per the election code. I mean, that's
Is election code says it that
yes,
geographically has to stay together.
yes, yeah. It's per the election code.
Okay, but per the lawsuit, they're going for something different, and this is. I mean, I'm trying to get to the heart of the matter here.
Right.
And so, how do you do that?
It's. I mean,
You're not gonna be able to.
you can't. That's
There's no heart of the matter.
exactly.
Victor
is what it
Cabral
is.
got the
It's
most
easy.
votes,
Right.
and he's a minority.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not
He's
gonna
Hispanic,
suck, they're
right?
gonna figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I mean, go
No,
figure.
this
We're
is
not. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
The election code, and I'm happy to send you a copy. In fact, I probably should have printed it for everyone, but it's very specific in the guidelines. We have to have 2 public hearings before the maps are posted. We have to have at least 2 public hearings after the maps are posted. It outlines all of these things that we have to do, or that our consultant has to do, to prepare districts. So it's very specific.
So, question?
Yeah.
And a comment, actually.
Yeah.
Comment is, the public participation kit has a typo in it, where it says if you wish to draw a 5-district map, it says 4, but it should say 5 districts must be close to 12.
Oh, thank you.
instead of
I will
7.
let the consultant.
4 or 5? Because I thought it was 4.
Prior to that, in the sentence, it says 4
Well, no, I
districts would be
see.
16,000, and then
Yeah.
in parentheses, it says if you wish to have 5, then
Oh, I
the
see.
5 should be. So that's the correction. And then the question I have is, it says earlier in the presentation that it could be between 4 and 9 districts.
Mhm.
So if it's 9 districts, does that lead to 9 council members?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So, yes, so council narrowed it down to 4 to 5 districts, and they really narrowed in on 4
There's not enough
districts.
seats in the dais for 9.
Exactly.
So we just do that.
Yeah.
Remodel again. There will never be a waffle again.
No,
There's
no,
10.
one more waffles.
So we're focusing on 4 districts with an elected mayor, and we're
Everybody's
inviting
council in that.
the public to also, if they're interested in 5 districts, to include that
Okay.
as well.
And the elected mayor has voting rights, correct?
Correct.
I'd like to put just feedback on the record with a council member in the room that I think a 5-district breakdown seems to make more sense with a rotating mayor. That would be my feedback on the record.
And I'll do just
On the
what
record.
I'll do just what I did with you before. You were completely against districting, and I kind of swayed you. I'm going to sway you to that.
Bring it back to speakeasy.
Yeah, well, I'll be there.
Sorry.
Questions there? Moving on. Does that answer your question, Cord?
I think I need to find out more about what the other rules are. I don't know. There's no hard and fast line that I see right now. That where we can set these things, other than you're catering to a group, and you're trying to actually create other groups, and it is I was very pragmatic about this, and I was actually taking Victor Cabral's stance, the lawyer, that this is going to be very expensive. The more I think about it, the more it just infuriates me that they're trying to separate and they're trying to partition people based on their status, on their address.
And Cord, let's be very clear, they're not trying.
They are.
I know.
They are.
I know. It's
Yeah.
It's
it's.
not,
Why do I
it's
still live in California?
Why
It's
we
not-
can't fight it?
It's just
not,
unbelievable.
it's not within our ability to fight it, which is
Which is
for
sad.
all the community that didn't want districting, we're being handed it. And it's not like we have an area of, Vietnamese people and an area of Japanese people and a concentration of Hispanic people where, the way it was explained to me, the original purpose of districting was that so every group had a voice and had representation, and there was minority representation on city council. But to Rosemary's point, Victor Cabral got the second highest number of votes. So if our community, didn't want to elect someone who was a minority, they wouldn't have elected Victor Cabral.
And he got the most number of votes.
Oh, sorry.
And by the way, he did not carry the Hispanic vote, and he didn't carry the Hispanic vote.
Which is so interesting.
So that
Right.
throws it
Yeah,
out
the whole thing
another
out
vote.
Well,
So-
his name is actually Portuguese.
Oh, well, I think he carried the Portuguese vote.
You got the Portuguese vote.
I wouldn't vote for him then.
I like Portuguese.
Damn Portuguese.
In any case, so I think
Doesn't make sense.
since it's a foregone conclusion and we're not gonna fight it, if you wanna have input, sit down with your calculator. Donna, I saw your sample posted and your ideas on it.
I just happen to have a copy in my bag. I will pass it around if you want to look at it.
I'd love to.
Okay.
You know what, will you
Actually-
take a picture of it and text it to me?
What is it?
This is
Your
to
plan?
just have one
I
copy.
studied this and this is what I came up
Oh.
with, but it's not perfect and it's
May I
just.
just take a
But
picture of how
Yeah.
who's gonna decide, who's gonna decide on the, on council? Because obviously everyone throwing in their opinion is based on what's best for them. I heard someone wants to divide the Pure Bowls, like how do you,
Your input's
I
gonna
was
be
thinking.
extremely important.
Oh, yeah, I
and
was
the
thinking this would be-
consultant we
because
have
all the
is gonna help us
So where's the
also,
line
'cause
here?
some people are gonna be turning in maps that we can't even do. They'll have 3,000 in one district and
Right.
21,000.
It's
You
all
can't do it.
down here.
But if we kind of get an idea, our consultant
this should
can help
be all
us.
the-
He's a mapper, that's what they do.
right?
And they can help
Seems
us
to me
maybe
good.
fit a lot of ideas
This is
in
the only
and
thing I would
maybe get the
probably want
best
to
average.
somewhat-
That's what I'm
Well, and
hoping.
citizens in the community who live in the neighborhoods know the constituency in your neighborhood. You know who
That's
your
for
neighbors
our
are,
board.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
Hold
a
on,
good
I'm gonna
point.
take a
I
picture.
sent an email to council saying,
I saw it.
I want to take a picture.
Oh, thanks.
I don't have my camera.
Do you want to take it?
I sent an email up to council saying, I talked to Dan Bain years ago about this, and he said, well, in a districting, you can have more than one vote. So you can go to vote, and you can vote for, if you have 5 districts, you can vote for 5 people. And I said, well, why can't we have 5 votes and we can vote for one person 5 times? And that would cover the district question. And you already said,
Well, you're talking about like the.
so I say, if you want underrepresented people to have a stronger voice and nominate a single person, then a block group could say, if you have 5 votes, you can vote for 5 different people, or you can vote for one person 5 times. That gives you a much stronger.
Well, one problem with that is the Orange County Register of Voters, it's not set up, we can't vote that way, the machines don't go that way. The only way you can do that kind of voting is if you become a charter city, and then you buy your own voting machines, you can vote any way you want.
You're making my case for me. I'd love this to be a charter city.
Now I'm taking a different direction.
Okay, listen, you guys, we're
Sorry.
getting way down the
I
road.
gotta-
too.
I have-
I know
I'm
we're gonna
sorry.
stop at 5, so several people, so let's keep going, Laura.
Yep.
All right.
Councilman for left, I would suggest.
No, I'm just kidding. We ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So again, our timeline, Cord, to your point, you still have a lot of opportunity for public input. Again, we've held our first 2 public hearings. Those by law had to be done before the public maps were presented. The next 2 public hearings by law need to be after those maps have been presented. So October 3rd is our 3rd public hearing. That's going to discuss the content of the draft maps and the sequence of elections. By October 10th, that's the deadline for any new or amended maps and sequence of elections to be posted online. So again, we'll be accepting maps. Our consultant will be working on any changes, but also again, we'll be accepting maps from the public. They'll be posted online by October 10th. And then October 17th is our 4th public hearing for council to select their maps. And if council does select maps at that meeting, they will also introduce an ordinance to transition to district elections. Assuming that both of those things happen on October 17th, November 7th is the date that we will adopt the ordinance, council will adopt the ordinance and will officially transition to district elections. We have a safe harbor date of October 25th if we need an additional public hearing, if there are any changes to the maps or the ordinance on October 17th. We have one more bite at the apple, council will have one more bite at the apple October 25th. And then November 7th is that date that they would adopt the ordinance. And that is right in line with our 90-day safe harbor that was put in place after we adopted the resolution of intention August 15th. So we're aware it's a very, very, very short timeline, but again, that's directed by the election code. And then from there, when will district elections be implemented? Again, we talked about this earlier. November 5th, 2024 is the first election using district-based seats, and November 6th, 2026 is when we will move to fully by district elections.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I go?
You really want to go there?
Except for you, Kurt. You get no questions.
I'm so sorry.
I noticed we did have one public comment. I don't know if you asked for speaker cards or how you handle public participation.
I'm just gonna.
I'm not discouraging your question. I just don't want to go out of line of how human
We don't have
affairs.
speaker cards.
Oh,
We
okay,
just welcome- We just
In
welcome
this
our
case,
guests.
Perfect.
I write it down.
Great, okay.
Right.
I'm hosting Coffee Chat this Friday at
Uh-huh.
8 o'clock, the Senior Center. I'd like to give you the opportunity to come and address a different group of people at the Coffee Chat on Friday.
I was gonna suggest that too.
Yeah, I would
don't-
be more than happy to do that. I happen to be out of town this Friday. Are you
Start Friday.
doing it?
Following
And
Friday.
Yeah, but
normally it would be fine, but I just happen to be out of town. How about the following Friday, the 21st?
Okay, I will put that on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm not responsible, so I can't offer you that opportunity.
Okay, or
But I'm
who-
sure somebody else.
Who hosts it? And I can reach out to that person
I'll
directly.
send it to you.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to.
Okay.
And I'm sorry this Friday doesn't work out. Happens to be my 22nd wedding anniversary.
Oh,
4 days
that's
after
all.
9/11, so
Right.
we got married the same year. So otherwise I'd be happy to.
Laura, that was the most concise, clear representation of this.
Oh, good.
Because in our discussions with 3 attorneys on the council, I'm usually more confused after we discuss it. So I'm glad you clarified it very nicely.
Okay, great. Anyone else have any?
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, thank you. I
Thank you.
will,
Thank you.
I'll get out of your hair and if you have any questions, just feel free to give me a call. And Cord, I'll email you that election code if you're interested.
That'd be awesome. Is it I can forward it to everyone else as well.
Sure. Want me to just send it to the whole committee?
That'd be,
That'd be great.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah, if you don't have the email, you can shoot it to me and I can shoot it to them.
Okay, I've got all their emails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just whatever's easier.
Okay.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
All right, happy day. Here's your extras.
Take care.
Laura, here's your extras. You might want to use them for the next.
Thank you.
See ya.
Donna, did you have an additional comment, or was that's it?
On a different topic, but later.
Well, this is your time.
Oh, for everything or just related to? what
No,
was
this
just
is,
discussed? Okay.
well, actually, at the very end, you can do your comments, right before we adjourn. They're oral written communication, so you can make your comment there if you prefer.
Perfect.
Okay. Alrighty, so let's dig into the meat and potatoes. Today, we'd like to come away with a strawman work plan that we all have voted on and we agreed to move forward and present at the next city council meeting. And to walk you through what happens at the city council meeting, we go through our work plan, we wordsmith it, we determine what we'd like to include. That whole package is submitted to each of the city council members and the mayor. They determine whether they just want to approve it as is, or they'll take things off calendar and then they'll discuss them at the city council meeting. They may have questions for us. Last year, they accepted everything as we presented it on the work plan.
Is it possible to forego here's an extra one to give it to Rick so he can read along?
Oh no, Rick can absolutely read along. Sure.
Sure.
I would encourage a couple of you to show up at that city council meeting if you're available. I'll be there. I should have, the ability to address the issues and answer any questions that may come up. But certainly anyone who's interested is welcome to attend. And then if there are any questions.
Which one is this? Which meeting?
The next city council meeting.
What is it?
Next week, next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's October 3rd.
Right. Thank you. Oh, it's October 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have our draft work plan ready to go and submitted prior to October 3rd. And the reason why we're sort of accelerated in this, sort of similar to the reason why we're meeting monthly instead of bi-monthly, is so we can get busy. Because there are a lot of things we want to get cooking on. So we need an approved work plan from City Council in order to do so. So first I'll give just a summary of all the items up for discussion today. And what I'd like to encourage everybody to do is as we go through the items, if there's something that isn't clear to you, that doesn't make sense, ask the people here, assembled here, what that means or provide more detail so that we all understand it. Because if it's overbroad and if we don't understand it, City Council isn't going to understand it either, and they'll be more apt to just dismiss it, as opposed to digging deeper. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to go through the projects, and then I'm just going to go through the title and who the people are on each of the projects, and then we're going to go through in detail. Fair enough? Anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So project 1 is the Community Resource Fair. And then as a byproduct of that, updating the resource registry on the city website. I'm on that work group along with Jill and Stuart. Number 2 is the overall homeless strategy. Stuart's the leader on that group with Cord and Tyler. Project 3, the mentorship program. Tyler's heading that up with Rosemary and Cord. Project 4, the every 15 minutes, which is the DUI simulation. Rosemary is heading that up. I'm working on that, and also Stuart Anderson. The San Clemente High School humanitarian work, project number 5. Rosemary is heading that up with Jill Schechter and Tyler. Number 6, the AI questionnaire for the community. That's Cord and all of his good friends, all with the last name of Bauer. Project number 7, the Dorothy Visser Senior Center improvements. Dick Veal and Jill Schechter. Project 8, community block grants. Rosemary Salas with Stuart. And number 9, the character counts program. Tyler heading that up with Jill and Stuart. Okay? So in the case of absences, those of us that remain in the work group will do our best to explain it, and we can field the questions, okay? So as we go through, I'm going to do a show of hands on each item, and we're going to vote on each item.
Can we pull things out of each if we don't like?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. If something's unclear or you think it doesn't fit or it's not appropriate, let's have a discussion about it, and then we'll vote on whether to include it or exclude it, okay? Everybody here has a voice, and I would also urge you to take a look at the number of projects, see whether they're realistic and we can accomplish them. I think we did look at that with an eye to whether or not we could accomplish these items during our last meeting. But let's just give it a second look and really feel comfortable and confident that we can accomplish what we set out to do so we can be really productive in the coming 23-24 committee year or committee term. Okay, so number 1, the Community Resource Fair. So the Community Resource Fair is similar to what we did last year, only promoted more appropriately this year. Last year we had 36 different resource providers, everything from mental health, elder care, veterans, abused women, homelessness, teenagers, disabled individuals. We had 36 different resource providers. It was actually an excellent turnout in terms of resource providers,
that's great.
but we didn't have enough community members show up. So we're going to tilt it on its ear a little bit this year and really advertise it. Buy banners, have banners made to put over El Camino Real and Del Mar. Do posters that are professionally drafted by a graphic artist and put them in the shop windows. Hand out flyers in areas where individuals congregate that may be interested in attending. and really make sure people show up. Drop some off at Dorothy Visser, drop some off over at FAM, so people know that this is going on and we really promote it more robustly. So that's the first item.
Just a question on this
Sure,
one.
please.
Will there be, at the previous one, I don't think there was any kind of presentation component to it, right? It was just kind of the booth
Correct.
set up and people
Correct.
kind of walk through?
Correct.
Would it be the same format?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you think there should be a presentation, let's talk about it.
Well, I think I may have been confused from our last meeting. I took away from our last meeting that maybe we wanted to go in the direction of having more presentation style so that there could be kind of dialogue between the community and the service providers. I can't say I have too much of a preference either way. I think there's value in both ways, and maybe there's a way to incorporate both into the event. One thing I will draw from in priority number two, there is mention of a forum. And so I think there's some overlap there, which I would say isn't necessary. I think that, having just one event of this type would seem to make sense for me rather than two. So that's just a comment.
And this would be at the community center?
Yes.
Okay.
One thing that I want to stay away from, since it's my sort of passion project,
Yeah.
is positioning the Community Resource Fair as an event solely catering on homelessness.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if we host a forum on homelessness and do Homelessness 101
Yeah.
in conjunction with the Community Resource Fair,
It's too much.
I think it's really slanting the event toward homelessness.
Sure.
And there were 2/3 of the providers that had nothing to do with homelessness.
Yeah.
It had to do with teen bullying, abused women resources, veteran resources, elder health insurance,
Yeah.
and how to access free services, Medi-Cal or Cal Optima now. So there were a lot of other things that were there,
Sure.
and that was about 75% of the providers that were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason why I wanted to separate it out.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
I think we can certainly mic up, and I'm going to be there that night. I can give an introduction as to who's there, why they're there, and have the audience understand what the purpose is, just to launch it more formally.
Mhm.
And that's probably a really good idea.
Sure.
But I
And
would,
to thank the people, the providers for coming.
indeed,
So my question is, how many, okay, you have 36 providers, how many people, people from the community did you have to come take
how many
part?
do we have? 60? 64?
Yes.
60?
62,
Wow.
yeah.
So the
But
target.
it wasn't to answer that wow.
Yeah.
It wasn't advertised at all.
Okay.
We put together our own poster and dropped them off wherever we could think of dropping them off.
We got
But-
press in San Clemente
There was a
Times,
mention in
but-
the San Clemente Times.
Yeah.
This year I want to buy an ad.
Yeah.
And put an ad in San Clemente Times, and also those banners over Del Mar and El Camino Real. If you can notice those.
I don't know how many people read San Clemente Times anymore. Is that fairly?
I do.
You do?
I do.
I think the important thing is that your target market realizes what this is.
Right.
Because if you have a banner, I know you like the banners, but if you can't tell the people on that banner who should be there, it's a tough sell.
Well, the posters also will have more detail.
Okay.
And when we go, for example, to Dorothy Visser and to FAM, we're going to explain what we're doing and what's available, so that as they have events and so forth, people will understand what it's about. And Donna brought up something, coffee chat. We can go to coffee chat and tell everybody there what we're doing, because that's a pretty diverse audience of people that are involved in the community in one way or another. So that could be really interesting, and maybe San Clemente Times would even write an article about it. This exciting new thing's coming up. Come show up, see what's available for you.
I did present it at Coffee Chat. I showed up and passed around flyers and,
Last one.
yeah.
Okay.
Good, so you can come again.
I go most Fridays.
I love it. Yeah, it depends on my work schedule, but I think that's a really worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah, I've seen you there.
I know you have. I know you have. So, any other questions or comments?
I think it's great. I think it's also fits well with the, I mean, it's taking 1 and 1A as one.
Okay, let's take it as one. Thanks, Tyler.
Um,
So 1A is updating the city resource registry now that the website's been updated and we have the ability to do so. And taking all the resources that are available and placing them by category on the city website in an easy to navigate fashion. So if somebody needs something, they're not trying to dig for gold on the city website and find it somewhere by searching a keyword where the information they're looking for doesn't pop up. So make it very user friendly and have those resources available. So an online resource guide.
Yeah, it's great, and it's having the resource guide and then having the event that sort of highlights the services that are presented in the resource guide. It's sort of just providing the community with the tools to connect themselves or connect people they know, people they come in contact with whatever the service
Is
is.
something getting folded in,
That's it. Updating the website.
updating the website?
That's the folding in.
Okay.
Okay? So for item number 1 and 1A, let's have a vote. Either aye or nay. Rosemary?
Aye.
Heather?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Court?
Aye.
Thank you. Dick?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, passes unanimously.
Can I just
It
interrupt?
was,
The cost, is that accurate cost?
It's
Or-
as best as I can suss out based on how
Got
much
it.
an ad costs in the paper.
And then staff time? Do
Right.
you have an idea of what staff hours would be?
Not until I meet with the IT person to ask them how easy it's gonna be for them to drop that in.
Got it. What about for the resource fair?
Just to hire a graphic designer, and we all know people that we can hire as a graphic designer to do it on the cheap. I don't think he charges much at all.
Got it, for Tamara and to help set up.
Right.
So gonna be a few.
so all I'm doing is setting up. That was only
Okay.
a couple hours.
Microsites are links, or they're
Yes.
information and then a link to a further link?
It's
I probably did.
a
about
title
20.
and a link
Yeah, I
to
probably
a
did more
further
like
link with
40 or
more
50.
information. So it's like a drop down.
Okay.
And I'll see how they can structure it. I've built websites before and it's relatively straightforward when you have the information all in one place where they can just go program it in. I'm not a programmer, I just know what the vision is, so hopefully they can make it mobile friendly and really easy to use because a lot of people don't necessarily have laptops that want to avail themselves of these services, but they have a phone. So if it's mobile friendly, touch and go, click, touch something, they have a phone number, they have an address, I think it's very helpful.
Yeah, if we could get the hours, because I think council might want to know that when they're looking through it, like how much staff time is this project going to take? If we could put like an estimate on the
On the
work plan,
website?
on each work plan item before we
Okay.
finalize it.
So community
Cost,
resource
staff
fair,
hours, might,
community resource fair, 4 hours. Microsite, it's an IT person, I don't know how fast they move.
It's a
Oh,
tough
for
one.
IT?
The committee member too.
IT.
are they just loading the stuff? You guys will have it already.
You're gonna give them a delimited text file. They've got all the.
Well, I'm not giving them a
everything
text file, I'm giving them Excel spreadsheets, they're gonna
Well,
have to write the
that-
code.
Yeah, that would be the same thing.
Okay,
But if it's just information that they upload, they would just have to create the page and then
It's gonna be links and
it
logos
could be about
as
right,
much as
maybe
anything
5 to 10
else.
hours.
There's existing documents too, right?
yes,
For the-
there's existing content for all of it.
Maybe I'll email Kate and get
Thank
it.
you.
But we'll go with
And
like
you
8
can always
hours.
text me on my cell or call me, and we can talk it through because
Yeah, if you
make
can give me an idea of what you want them to load or what you want them to do, then he can probably give me an idea how many hours it might take.
if you give me all the service providers from last year and their materials, if you can email me that. No?
It's
We don't
the Stuart has all that.
Okay, so when Stuart gets back, we'll ask, can you, I don't
I
want to
will.
have
I am going to
violation.
tell you, Lisa, that list of his
Uh-huh.
needs a lot of cleanup before it could be put into a
But we know
workable
who the
document.
attendees were.
I'm just saying that you would need
No,
to
I'll
do.
clean up the, I'll do all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just has
That's
some
not a
work.
problem.
List of
No, I know there were a
attendees to
lot,
Lisa.
it needs
Yeah.
to be deduped and all that, I know it was a hot mess.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you send me what you want IT to do and a description, then I will send that to Kate and see what he says on the staff time.
Well, I'm not gonna have it till Stuart gets back, because he has all the files, so I don't know that we're gonna meet our timeline.
Okay, we'll figure something out.
Let's call it a 20 hours. 20 hours of IT support. That's 2-3 days.
Okay,
Because you know what we're gonna have to do, and this always happens, you test it, and then you test it on different devices like an Android or an iPhone, and it glitches. Or
got it.
an iPad and, you know, a Dell computer, and it glitches. So we'll have to work through the functionality issues. So, I mean, if he can hardcore sit there and, or she, it's Kate?
It'd probably be
Okay,
Kate,
so
yeah.
he's,
And so for the resource fair, you just need me for day of. You don't need all the stuff that I did the last time, just for day of.
oh no, I'll take you for all the stuff you did last time. I would be a stupid fool.
So
Got it.
you might want to put more like
You
20
tell
to
me.
30 hours.
And we'll put estimated,
Yes.
like on the 20
30 hours
hours.
estimated.
Well,
Fair enough?
Yep.
Is that, I don't want to overburden you, is that being too greedy? No?
I'm here for you.
Oh. Come on, I definitely have to bring cookies next
So put
time.
30
I know what
for
that
a
means.
resource fair, estimate 20 for the website. Okay.
Yes, please. And again, that's a roll of the dice because I've only worked with internal marketing communications team members. And I don't know how Kate works and what his process is, but I think we can get things rolling pretty quickly.
Just one other question on the registry.
Sure.
I know that the city has existing like pamphlets and brochures that list all the kind of resources that are available. Is it different than that? It's more than that?
It's a lot more than that.
Okay.
Are you thinking the previous, it was a CRCSC, the San Clemente Community Resource Center? That was, I think that folded about 5 years ago or so, but they had,
No, it wasn't.
and I know that
wasn't
we used to hand it out at the city.
It was a pamphlet, a city pamphlet that just listed the different resources that are available around the city. It's something that we discussed last time I was on this committee,
Yeah.
and we kind of found that pamphlet up like, oh, that's a pretty good resource guide. So we
Can you
sort of,
look for that for me and see if it exists anywhere in the archives?
I think it's actually on the website right now. I think we,
yeah, right. So
Okay.
my point is that you may not have to wait for Stuart, to find those things
Well, again, there were 36 different providers.
at the fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of things that aren't
Cross-reference.
listed on the city, but I'll go look for it. Okay, thanks. Excellent. Okay, item number 2, the overall homelessness strategy.
And this seems a lot similar to what the resource fair, right? So we're talking about doing 2 of these?
Well, let's go through the items. There are things that have nothing to do with the resource fair, and then let's talk through it, okay? So number 1 is exploring the need for a safe parking program. So that's unrelated to the resource fair. And then if there is a need, explore options. I don't know. So
I am against that, completely against a safe parking lot here, I'm sorry. To me, $800,000 a year to staff it, we don't have that money. I'd rather put that towards officers. Safety for officers. And then I just feel like we're opening the whole city up to, we're the only one in Orange County that would have a safe parking lot. And so everyone come here and then they're here all day. So I'm not for that one.
I mean, for the sake of time, and we got a lot of things to discuss here, I personally, being on this committee, I think we should put the kibosh on this one. Not only does it have some overlap with the resource fair, I also don't really think it's super necessary for us to have a forum in addition to the resource fair.
Do you mean, okay, so right now on number 1, and that's just safe parking.
I'm talking the
The whole
entire,
entire thing, me
Oh,
too.
okay.
I feel like the whole thing, it's too similar to what the first one is.
there's that,
I see.
and then the 2 other items that are listed on there are
Yeah.
sort of suggestions to the city council of what the city council should do, but as
Right.
I've said in previous meetings, this is not our
job.
purview.
We're not
Yeah,
coaching
yeah,
city
we're not-
council.
yeah,
And they
good
know
point.
about these things
Yeah.
already. So if we tell them about solutions for change, we're not telling them anything they don't already know. So I don't think we need to be working on this. I think this is under the purview of the city council, not of our committee. We got plenty of other items to be talking about. I just think we should put the kibosh on this entire project.
It might get sent to you. There's a lot of things that might get sent to you. I mean, we send stuff to the public safety committee all the time.
And we're open to all of
specifically.
that.
So it certainly could come to you, but you're right as far as you initiating it, probably.
Yeah.
You probably spend your time.
Better on something else.
Because I know that these things have been discussed, and they certainly are probably gonna be coming up in the future.
Yeah.
On council.
And as we learned in our joint homeless subcommittee days, sometimes you put in work on something and it's spinning your wheels, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I just think that's what we would be doing if we were to pursue this. And
I wanted to put in the work beforehand so that the city council could see it and say no, rather than to put a whole boatload of work in and said, no, we're not really interested in this.
Right.
Later. So, and I mean, we went back and forth about how short this is and how it doesn't have numbers and figures and dates and people and things like that. That's the part. That's where I kind of had loggerheads. And again, I this is my first time on the committee, so maybe things do happen that way. But that's
I'm all for taking it off. Let's just take it off.
Okay, that is
Just
take
move on.
off.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so are we striking solutions for change as well? Do we need,
No.
do we need to vote? Let's take a vote.
No, that's what I was asking.
Okay.
No, we'll take a vote to get it on the record.
Okay.
For item number 2, Rosemary Salas.
Off.
nay.
Nay?
nay.
Hey,
Okay, it's unanimous. So that includes solutions for change, right?
If you'd like me to just send this in an email, I'm more than happy to, because we had a half-hour conversation about this.
Yeah.
And this is all that would happen anyways. We just send it up the chain and see what happens.
Right.
Sure.
I think that's
Set
an
it up to
outstanding
flagpole.
idea.
I'm
Send
fine.
it up the flagpole.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
mixing 2A as well,
Great.
as part of the vote.
Great.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So
Number 3, the mentorship program for high school students. And
Yeah.
Tyler, you're heading that up.
Yeah, so we know it's been on the work plan in the past and that the city council has an interest in it, and it's just, there's a whole lot of interest in it everywhere. It's a hot topic right now, mentorship programs. The challenge is figuring it out, and that's what we've run into with the chamber. And so I think this is just a great opportunity for us to kind of partner with the chamber and get some more sort of official support from ourselves as the city in partnership with the chamber to put something together. What it looks like, I can't tell you right now. I don't know. I went to a breakfast last week with Susie in Vista, and they do a monthly breakfast with students from each of their 6 different high schools, and they recognize one student for
that's
their
fabulous.
achievements in spite of the challenges that they have in their lives. And so Chamber's looking at doing something like that. So I think really what this is inviting us as committee members to participate with the chamber and with other stakeholders to put something together and have a say in it and be a part of it. So I think it's pretty straightforward. I can't say we know exactly what it's going to look like in the end. I will say that from now until a year from now, we're probably not going to have a program created to be ready to implement. If this says work to implement in fall 24, I think that's a best case scenario thing.
Right.
So from now until then, like if we have one Rising Star breakfast, I think that would be a win. But we'll kind of this will be kind of an ongoing project, I think.
Would you like to add in the one Rising Star breakfast as an item on the work plan? Or leave it
Might
off?
as well.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm a big supporter too. I'm actually a huge supporter. I'm going to bring up one ugly word though, and I hope we don't talk about it because it'll take forever. Liability.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean it's as the chamber has considered it, that's been a topic of conversation. Is like who administers the program? Where does liability get held? How do you prevent liability? How do you make sure people are trained and things like that? It is a big thing, and so it's something we'll definitely have to consider.
All the people have to be vetted and stuff. And
Right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
It's a big deal.
Exactly.
But to have it on the program now, to leave it on I'm for.
Yeah.
Just
Me
to-
too.
Yeah.
Okay, so do me a favor.
Yeah.
For item number 3, please send the Rising Star breakfast verbiage should it go to Janet or Tamara?
you can send it to me.
Okay, please send it to Janet, just 1 or 2 sentences to include.
Sure.
I think it's a spectacular idea, and if we accomplish that
Yeah.
and start laying the groundwork for the future, I think it's wonderful.
Set up.
Yeah, and we'll just build from there.
For
So
sure.
you're gonna lay the foundation. Okay, let's vote on it. Rosemary?
Aye.
Tyler?
I
Lisa? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, unanimous.
Like a bunch of robots.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a good idea is a good idea, so I don't know how we can fight that.
Is there, I'm
Okay.
sorry, staff time, cost?
So for the, I mean, if I do add a Rising Star breakfast, and if that is something that happens, then there may be. The thing is that the chamber wants to be a part of leading this thing. So really, the city's involvement is up to the city to what extent the city wants to be involved. That's why I didn't put anything, because I don't know if there will be.
Because you're not to that point yet.
Right. I know in
Okay.
the early stages, none at all. But if something does happen, it certainly could be done without any staff time. So I think at this point we can probably estimate no staff time.
Got it.
Reserving the right to change your mind if necessary at a later date.
Yeah,
How about that?
I think it's
With the caveat, as it takes shape, your
Yeah.
needs may change.
and I'll try to reflect that in the final version I send you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, every 15 minutes.
I mean, this is pretty basic. I mean, they were planning on doing it last year. They didn't get in on time for the grant. Now, I'll message Mark Enmeyer because this year is, every other high school in the area does it every 2 years because it's a junior senior program. So this is the year that all the other high schools in the area are pulling grants to do it. San Juan Hills, Santa Margarita. So he's got to get in there immediately because I think we would have a little bit more.
Because we haven't had it.
And they want it done here. We haven't had it since 16.
Where's the grant come from?
The Highway Patrol, it's a $10,000
Okay,
grant.
CHP. Okay.
Yeah, and then they control how the whole thing's done, and
Perfect, yeah.
we just
provide supportive resources.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And it opens up October 1st, and you're gonna
October
get Councilmember
Yeah.
Enmeyer to beat the drum to get it
I
signed.
mean, he's got the
and submitted that day.
paperwork. It just
Yeah.
needs, they just need to sign it and send it in.
Excellent. Okay. Does anybody need any more clarification on this project?
No.
Excellent. Let's vote on it. Rosemary?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. And I know you're gonna get it this year because you're gonna be there when it's 12:01 a.m. That's gonna be submitted. Alrighty, project number 5, the San Clemente High School Humanitarian Award and Mentoring. Rosemary, you're heading that up.
Last year, unfortunately, it just kind of, they forgot about it. They weren't passing the information out. So we need this year to get, again, I'm gonna get Mark involved and get more involved and get, a flyer or something for every junior classroom teacher so that they can pass it out in their classroom. And so we get more of a, and we only had like 5 or 6 kids last year. We need to get more of a sample, of everyone for the award.
So Rosemary, could you please send 1 or 2 sentences to Janet on involving Councilmember Enmeyer at the school?
Okay.
So that this is promoted, because
Okay.
Tyler, I think you had an idea to go into the classrooms, take a few minutes, describe what it's all about,
Right.
and try to garner support that way. And we said we'd work with Councilmember
Yeah, we can do
Enmeyer
that
to try to
too,
help
yeah.
do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you could put together
Yeah,
2 or
okay.
3 sentences on
Okay.
that, get it over to Janet, and let's
Okay.
give them some more
All
color?
right, perfect.
I think council's really gonna support this, and if they can help us, let's
Right.
parlay their relationships.
Yeah, it just, last year, they just fell through the crack.
Right, because it wasn't advertised and promoted, and so it was just one club
Yeah.
that submitted a few people,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's vote on it, Rosemary.
Can I ask you a real quick question?
Sure.
So how many awards total do you think you're looking at, maybe?
It's one award. They give out one award. It's supposed to be for the junior that's doing a lot of community
Okay,
service.
so it's one's through the.
One student, right. And
Okay.
then we kind of help mentor them during the year and everything. And they were supposed to be getting us all the applications, and I was calling, and then at the very end, she's like, oh, I kind of forgot. The person,
You probably want to give this person like a plaque with a city.
yes, that's what it is.
So put $100 in for your plaque
Okay,
for costs.
Oh, okay.
also. But
Okay.
I would put a couple of $100s in there. instead,
okay, for the
total.
cost. Okay.
Would you ever think to do more? Like if you hit say you did 300 service hours?
Well, see, this is a council thing. I mean, you've been involved in the past, right? I mean, yeah, I mean,
Plaque at a city council meeting type of
right,
thing.
they go to the city
Well, that's
council.
what I mean. I
Right.
know the support of it.
And then it was, we all
It's annual.
interview them. Yeah, it's an annual thing. We interview them and then we choose who the best person, who we feel.
And then it would be like sending letters of recommendation for their college
For
application.
their
Yes.
colleges, exactly. So the
Yeah.
city sends, so there's a benefit for them
So what would it be, springtime of 2024?
Springtime, right, springtime is when it's awarded, but we've got to start promoting it now through the whole entire year
Yeah.
so that they know what we're looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah, juniors before they go into their
Senior
Yeah.
year, right, exactly. Mhm.
Does anybody need any more detail on this?
I'd like to see more
More awards.
recognition, yeah, personally,
more than one person?
more than one person.
Yeah,
If you hit 300, say, or you guys
Yeah.
figure out a number.
it's close, how do you pick one or the other and give it to 2 or give it to 3?
So why don't we say top 3 if there are meritorious recipients?
Yeah,
To give you some wiggle room. Up to 3.
up to 3, 1 to 3.
How about that?
Yeah, 1 to 3.
Up to 3, is that good, Deb?
Yep.
Okay, up to 3.
In 2021, I think 2, because they missed the COVID year.
You're exactly right.
So in 2021, they did nominate 2 and award 2 at council.
Okay. So let's do you mind in the verbiage up to 3?
So
Based
we should
on
bump
merit.
that- Bump the
Good.
expense up.
So then put $400.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
$400 for the budget. Miss Janet?
And the flyers.
I'm anticipating, I know one person is.
Yeah, the
asking
pla-
every item.
The plaque's like probably 100, I think, if I
So if
remember.
we have 3,
We'll-
that's
we'll
300
figure-
and then flyers.
We'll do 4.
So do 400, please.
College, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
let's do a vote.
Aye.
I
Aye.
Unanimous. Like it when a plan comes together. Okay, the AI questionnaire to reach out to the residents. Cord.
The whole concept behind this is to get public input for questions that the council needs to or will be voting on. And, based on what we talked about before, this is not scientific. It doesn't have to be scientific. I would never, in fact, I would put in bold letters, this is not a scientific survey. But what it is it's feedback from the public. And it's very, very easy to do. And the way I envision it right now, broad base, the council goes, we'd like information about this, this, and this. We write the questions, or actually, we question AI. And if you look on the second page, I did that. And you'll see the questions, and you'll see the answers that come up. And then when you get the answers, the Human Affairs Committee looks at it and goes, well, this is completely dumb, or this one's perfect, or let's not do 10, let's do 5. And then you send it up to the city council, and the city council goes, sure. Or they go, no. And it really,
So my question is, this is very broad. What,
so is Human
Issues.
Affairs. That's my whole point, is that what
so
we're trying
let
to
me,
do.
let me finish my question and maybe you
Okay.
can answer me. That's okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Where do we start and what are the areas that you want to do the AI questionnaires on?
I would get feedback from the city council. I'm not here to lead them, they can lead us because we're here to help them.
So I have just something to throw out for your consideration. When city council comes to us and says, okay, we're going to kick X issue to human affairs, is that the time to use this questionnaire as a resource rather than trying to front load it and say, hey, city council, will you hand us something? This is what we're going to use as a tool.
I don't understand.
Is it working backwards to try to do a questionnaire where we don't know the issues that city council might kick to us for us to investigate?
I don't think so, because I think you don't know what's gonna happen in the future. You don't know what you're dealing with. And all we're looking for is feedback.
I know, but what areas are
and
you
what-
going to focus on?
What,
That's what I don't understand.
the areas where the city council is looking at making a decision and they have an issue. And in the past, what they've done is they spent $38,000 to have a professional group come in. And I think I've told you this, I had a friend at McKenzie, very, very, he's a doctor of physics. He said he would fly out to the companies and they'd go, we want you to spend 2 weeks, we want you to spend this much money, and we want you to see these people, then we want you to fire the CEO, and we want you to lay off 600 people. And let's cut out the middleman and let's just find out what the public has to say, how they feel about it, because you might be surprised. And that's really all I'm looking for.
So my position is, and then I want to hear all of your opinions as well, because we're a committee, is I think this is backwards, and I think we use this tool when city council hands us something that they want us to investigate, or they hand us something as a project that they hand off to Human Affairs. Because I think this is so overbroad and it can be used in so many different ways, it's unclear to me where we would even start.
I don't think it's necessarily for us. I think it's for the city council. And the city council goes, we'd like more broad information from the community about this.
And
So we-
that substantiates my point,
So
or
we-
my position.
But we gather it and we bring it back to
I like this idea that maybe you structure your work plan as offering this as a possible program, and that we kind of talked about it casually, is we could send out in their utility bills or water bill a card with a QR code that says, this month we're doing a survey. You click on the QR code and the information comes back, and we can pick the topic, what it might be. And in this case, we talked about it for district elections. Is this a way we can get out the information to everybody quickly? So maybe you just frame it as a possible program that we use to receive information from the public. Maybe that's the work plan. And you don't have to be specific on what item we're gonna look at.
How do we
Maybe I'm
do
making-
surveys right now?
What's that?
How do we do surveys
Well, we
right now?
hired a company that, I don't know how they did them. I never got
Okay,
surveys.
because I've
I
never
don't-
once
I
gotten a
don't know how
survey.
they do
How
it.
do we, yeah.
But a utility bill goes to every resident,
Everyone,
and we can
right.
send out, it doesn't cost us anything to add to
That.
that mailer, and we can have a QR code, and we could have, every quarter, maybe
Mhm.
we have, what
Is that what
are your
you're
priorities?
thinking of?
Is it public safety, is it beach erosion, whatever, to get feedback from because as we know, not that many people come to city council meetings,
Yeah.
it's hard.
No one goes.
So
all I have to say is what he said.
I like the idea of the
I can't-
mechanism. I think it would be a good suggestion if you,
Okay.
come up with a formula for how that would work. Is it sending it out with the utility bills?
Yeah.
Is it, social media? However you think would be the most effective, and send that as a work plan, as a way that we can get more
feedback.
quicker
right.
and accurate and mass amount of feedback on whatever topic we.
I think it's clever.
If you came back in the affirmative, then all of us would work on exactly how to do this. So we'd sit and noodle on it. I didn't come here to say this is how we're going to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I wanted everybody's input.
Yeah.
You're offering it as a resource.
Yes,
Yeah.
as a potential resource.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm ready to vote. What do
I
you
just
want?
have one, I guess it's a question for Rick, and we're glad to have you here. I guess my perception of, using consultants, and maybe it's an unfortunate reality in government, is that often consultants, I think, are used to try to create, to sort of push off the responsibility for legitimacy of a process onto another entity who seems to have that sort of authority and understanding.
Exactly.
And so that's my concern, is if we were to do this, then we are obviously not that sort of entity. We could put something together, but my question is, to what extent could it be used in an official capacity by the city council once the survey was done, whatever the subject of the survey is?
It'd be an advisory thing, just kind of interesting to know as we have topics come up, and I don't know what those topics are
Sure.
necessarily at this point.
Sure.
But it's a resource available if you want to hear from the
If you
community.
want to get more than
Yeah.
3 people who come up and speak at a city council meeting, or 10 people that email you,
Yeah.
I think we would get a bigger response than
Exactly,
that.
of what
And so it
people
just
really
gives
And
a
want.
people
bigger-
that ordinarily wouldn't show up at a city council meeting might be
Maybe.
motivated to respond and participate.
It's kind of the way, at Speakeasy, we got people talking about, well, if you could just schedule me to speak on Instagram at the city council, I'd go. It's just, I think we haven't tapped into the 21st century on social media. Maybe this is a way
Sure.
to launch us into at least a different demographic of how to respond, Like I said, that survey that we took here, I don't know anybody yet that got the survey.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't know
I
anyone
didn't
who got it.
get
I didn't
it.
get it. Yeah.
And yet they came up with all these things. So
Yeah.
this is just every household gets it. If you want to respond, great. If you don't, you don't. But I'm sure we get more than 5 or 6 responses.
Exactly. I think it's a great idea.
Does anybody have any questions, or are we ready to vote? Rosemary?
I say the way that Rick was talking about, I like that.
Ellen?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an aye.
I'm not against it.
Excellent.
Does this need to be reworded then?
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
I was just
reword.
gonna say, do you wanna?
Yeah,
wordsmith it a little
that's
bit
what
to
you're,
reflect
that's what I
those
can snap
comments?
people and good is putting it into real language. That somebody understands.
So, and then the cost and then staff time, if we could estimate.
I'm showing staff at 1 to 2 hours. On the second page, if you see that, if you see the questionnaire, that was made in about 4 minutes. Literally 4 minutes. So,
And
It'd
it would
be
save a
more
lot of
about-
money for surveys.
yeah.
I will let you know that there is
$30,000.
nothing that we do that is in 4 minutes.
Okay.
Actually, I know we already voted on this, but that 38,000, was that?
That's
for
what
real?
they, no, that's what they,
Or you said negative 38,000?
Yeah.
Oh,
because
that's
it's
right.
not-
Oh, we can't get it back.
It's
Yeah.
negative.
Oh, so it's zero cost.
Okay.
Okay.
It's zero cost. It's 1 to 2 hours. If you wanna advertise, or if we wanna advertise like in the paper, then it'd be whatever,
Okay. That
you know, to
makes
put the
sense.
QR code
That threw
the
me.
way that Rick was
Yeah.
talking.
the court has a way of throwing us off.
I'm sorry, it's not, no.
Okay, so back to us.
It's my,
I'm just looking at 38,000 going, oh yeah, that's gonna get approved.
Yeah, that's gonna get approved real quick.
Well, I think that's what we asked for our
That's
first
what
year, and then we were told,
limit. He can just write it and send it. It's okay.
I think
would
that's
you
what
like me to
close
change this, or?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
I think that's what we asked for the first year, was
Next
around
time you can just go,
$30,000.
duh.
When we were told.
Yeah, if you could just
you guys don't
rewrite
have
it,
that.
and I don't know if you
Why
want to
didn't you
keep
tell
the
us?
sample on, but that's up to you.
Yeah.
If you could rewrite it.
So in a broader sense of to use as a, a ready resource and engage the entire community, words like that, so that they understand that it's not a limited subset of those that are chosen to reach,
Yep.
to receive a questionnaire or be surveyed. I mean, maybe somebody called me and I said, yeah, I don't take telemarketing calls, and hung up the phone. Could have been something like
I
that.
never
That could
do.
have happened to all of us. Yep. Okay. Mr. Veal, the Dorothy Visser Senior Center.
It's pronounced Vale.
Veal.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay,
It looks like veal or
It
veal.
does.
yeah,
But
Thank you for
it's
correcting me.
pronounced Vale.
Vail,
Yes, sir.
like Vail, Colorado.
Like Vale, Colorado, exactly.
Just live there. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Used to live there.
Are you good, Steve?
Vale?
Yeah, so I know how to pronounce it very well.
Oh,
VAIL?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I
It's
stayed
a
for
great
lunch at
spot.
Vail. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
I used to have stock in the Vale Company. Yeah.
Oh, good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Way back when, yeah. All right, the Dorothy Visser Senior Center.
Yes.
Okay, so I've met a couple of times, actually 3 times, with the people down there. And Beth Apodaca
Yeah.
specifically. And she says, I said, what can we do for you as a Human Affairs Committee or a city? She says, well, I don't get anything from the city. And
Don't look at me.
He just got put on, don't look at him.
just so you know. Well, I've known Beth a long time, actually. Anyway, she says, we need, our building is, we built the building, we gave it to the city, and we rent it back. I don't know if you knew this or not, for $1 a year. Much like the Boys and Girls Club, for $1 a year to the land. So she says, we really desperately need to paint it. The outside maintenance is provided by the city, and it's already on the budget, as I explained. The inside, we need to get it painted and patched, where people in the wheelchairs hit the walls and stuff, and it looks messy and everything. So I'm proposing that we set up a group of people on a community service day, patch, paint, and do that. The paint she has paint.
She already has the paint?
She has paint. We don't have to buy paint. We need to buy brushes and drop cloths and stuff like that. So the community center is Dorothy's. So like Rotary, for instance, Rotary Club. Don't you want a Rotary or Kiwanis?
We're always looking for opportunities
Yeah,
to
see,
do service
Donna's
in the
involved.
community.
She's
Kiwanis.
in and Rotary.
Really? No kidding. Okay,
She's
good
got
for
a lot
you.
of
You got a
years.
lot of big names.
Wow.
Connie and Rotary.
And we also said we can get the high school kids community service
Yeah,
hours to
yeah.
paint.
And but the other thing is and it's a sensitive item, but, you know, people,
The chairs need to be cleaned.
the chairs need to be cleaned. And the biggest demand that they have for us at FAM is adult diapers. We provide as many adult diapers as we get. And they can't get enough of them. So I'm gonna but I'm not, you look at you, but I'm not at that point yet. Hopefully, I never get there, but I guess it happens a lot. So there is a cost to hire somebody, a professional group to come in and clean the chairs.
So that's $800.
$800.
Excellent. So let's put that under estimated project cost, please, Janet. Thank you. Move it. So.
Okay, so the $800 is, if you already like price that with somebody, you know, that's.
I said it would roughly be about $800.
Well, why don't you, and see, this is one work plan item where, once, assuming it's gonna get approved, I have no idea, but you could actually get this back and bring it to the city council, and you could actually get it approved and something checked off your work plan fairly quickly.
Yeah, we can do this real quick,
Yeah.
like.
So why don't we get like $1,000? Why don't you round it up?
Yeah, $1,000.
I'm sure there's people in town that have cleaning businesses.
They do.
Right,
That's
we
the guy that
some
does
of
my
them,
carpets. I
yeah.
asked him, I said, what would it cost to do like 40, 50 chairs? Well, how bad are they? Oh, there's some stains and stuff. Oh, probably about $800. So,
Okay.
all right, $1,000.
I like $1,000 better.
Yeah,
I like $1,000
okay,
better too.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
this
do
is,
that.
it's something we could easily get done real quick.
Yeah.
Pick a
Okay.
Saturday and do it.
Yep.
Let's vote on it.
Okay, aye.
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 Excellent.
And then the,
I think we need to do a diaper drive. I mean, it's just, my gosh, it breaks my
I
heart.
think, I don't mind talking about it here, but
No, I
I don't want to talk about it outside,
right.
No, but it's,
honestly.
Yeah.
So I just
I just-
keep it quiet. We don't even talk about it at FAM. We know about it, but
we just know.
we just know about it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gracious. All right. So project number 8,
This was just, this
CDBG
is always,
grants.
yeah, this has always been given every year. You guys say, okay, we need 2 people to decide, so we just put it on the work project. So you guys send out notices to everyone for the grants, right? To apply for the grants, is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys send out for the grants, and then we decide where the money goes.
You recommend to council.
Yeah, and then the council decides.
can you clean up the verbiage then on this, because it's a little bit skeletal? We
So
just
basically,
described
you're
it a little
serving
bit more.
on the social service grant committee.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Who else is on that committee?
It's myself and Stuart.
There's a
It's Stuart
policy.
and Rosemary.
Yeah, there's a
Rosemary's
city
heading it.
policy that dictates the committee, and it says, I think there's a council member,
Yeah.
city manager, designee.
Right.
There's
Okay,
2.
so how many people
There's
on
committee
it?
members.
There's
4 or
2
5?
human affairs, there's a council
I think
member
there's
sitting
4
in
total.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can, Janet, will you flesh that out a little bit?
Yes.
Thank you. So let's put it to vote, Rosemary?
Aye.
Tyler?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Excellent, unanimous?
And that may be an area where the community, or the, they can apply for diapers, right?
Well, I think
Grant
they
for
can
that.
apply for the CDBG grant.
Yeah, they
I
can.
don't know if they have in the past. I believe when we had the COVID money,
Yeah.
during COVID, we got CDBG CV funds, and I
Right.
believe we gave a
Yeah,
grant to Age Well.
Yeah, Age Well, that's right, we did, I was on it that year, I do remember that, okay.
So,
I hope April applies again.
Yeah.
It just breaks my heart. I want to go to Walmart
Yeah.
and go.
so December is when the NOFA goes out, the notice of funding
Right, and then
available
it's
to
like
all the.
February or whatever.
And usually it'll be February, March timeframe when the committee will meet and then recommend the awards.
Okay, project number 9, character
So I guess
path. Mr. Bowden.
Yeah, so it's just something I've kind of thought about for a while, just because that mural at North Beach has been there for 20 years. And last year, the San Clemente Sunrise Rotary Club repainted it, and it's super cool to see it happen. It was the Interact Club at the high school version of Rotary, and then a local artist and the Sunrise
It's so
Rotary
nice
Club
to see that fresh and
put
good.
it together, and it's cool. And then in the wake of, for me, it was the fight that happened down at the pier. It kind of exemplified the need in our community for more character to be developed, and it's something that you can never get too much character, right? Character is something that everybody at all ages could benefit from. focusing on. And so that's kind of what this program is all about. It's everywhere. I've talked to someone in Downey, and they have a really successful program in Downey. We were just for that Rising Stars breakfast in Vista, talked to the superintendent there, and they have a character counts program at different schools around the Vista school district. So, and I've also spoken with the lady who administered the program formerly back in the late 90s, early 2000s here in town. And so the goal here is really just to try to, get it reinstated in some capacity in town. It could be that an elementary school is the best place to do it, but kind of open to other levels, even potentially considering the Boys and Girls Club if that's what seems to make sense. So it's really, again, just like the mentorship program, putting together a group of people to explore it, see what makes sense, and then see what we could implement. And from a city resources standpoint, I don't know if there's really any staff time needed for it. I don't know if there's any city funding needed for it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Who usually administers?
That's a good question. In that case, it was like the Rotary Club and this lady who was a Rotarian, and she was a volunteer. Leslie
Yeah.
Mowers.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
So I just got connected with her a couple weeks ago, and she's super nice. She'd love to help out, but it was kind of her. And once she moved out of town, then it sort of dissolved.
So that's what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah. So it's kind of just basically just trying to get it going again. It's the whole idea. So who administers is a good question, and whether it's the city, I don't know. It wasn't the city before, I don't think, but it was in partnership with the city. The city was really involved. And I think there were recognitions that were given to students and stuff like that. So, I'm kind of learning about it as I go.
So it would emanate from Human Affairs, or it would go to staff, or it would be?
It's a good question. Whether it emanates from Human Affairs or not. I'm pretty much open to whatever.
I thought the schools ran it before. Didn't the schools monitor it?
Yeah, that's why I thought it was the schools. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I'm quite sure it was the schools back in the 2000s.
Yeah. Do you know?
Well, my daughter went to Fatima, and
Okay.
I remember working with Leslie
Yeah.
on that. All the kids went through it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, at the grade school level, I thought, right?
Well, I can't remember because
I know.
they were there till 8th grade, so
Yeah.
it blends.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And I think the school, so in the classroom, they can decide how they want it implemented. It's just those 6 pillars, and so however any school or any classroom decides that they want to incorporate.
So basically, we're going to suggest to the city council we want to promote this.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't vote against.
Exactly. How do you vote?
Sorry.
How did you vote no?
Yeah.
It's such
How
a
do you
good
vote no?
idea.
Yeah.
And I recognize that it's kind of like it's an unknown. It's like what are we signing
And
up for?
it'll be a work in progress,
Progress,
and maybe
right.
you'll lead it.
Your work plan is implement a strategy to
Yeah.
reinstate the
Yeah.
character
Character,
counts.
character counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So can we please put that as a goal? Janet?
Well, that's your work plan, is
Yeah.
figure out how to
How to
How-
reinstate it.
Yeah,
How-
exactly.
Yes, that.
And I
What do
put
you say?
It just always seems like the very best ideas that come out of Human Affairs, they're the very best when they get sent off somewhere else. They end up being
So my
enshrined,
vision-
and then it gets run by somebody else.
So my vision would be that we run it in partnership with other organizations that can help, implement it and facilitate it.
Yeah.
But this could be something that's evergreen in Human Affairs. You might have come up with a gold nugget that's going to be evergreen, and every year the focus changes.
Sure.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put it to a vote. Rosemary?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Passes unanimously.
Well, we were very well organized.
Look at this.
Wow.
Well,
And in sync today.
So could you get it down to like 7? Is it
Yes,
items total now?
yes.
4,
Yeah.
5,
With budget
7,
requests.
Yeah, the total money you're asking for is $7,400.
That's
Now that we took out that 38,000.
Negative 38,000.
We're asking for some money this year, for goodness sake.
that's good. The only reason I showed up is I saw that 38,000. I want to just stop this right now before you guys waste any time.
Well, that
So
was
I'm
our
the
one
third time here. Just
Yeah,
you guys
good
remember
job.
that.
Thank you.
Okay.
But I noticed it's actually negative 30.
Yeah, we're gonna see, we're gonna be back to this.
So much for saving.
I didn't mean to like have so much input here, but I try to go to the work plan meetings of all these because I know, I'm getting to know my fellow city council members.
Yeah, you know what's
And
gonna
I
ask.
know what they're gonna
You
ask
want
and
us
what
to be
they're gonna say.
successful. 'Cause
I
these
just want
two
this to get,
We're one.
Road
There were
and
two
going
on here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So it was just two that
Okay,
came
so
out.
let's cruise on through. Is there
Project
any new
2 and
business?
2A are done.
Janet,
Yes, we only lost
Janet,
one
do we have
project.
any new business?
Nope.
Item number 6? Okay.
Got one, so-
Oral written communication. Donna, did you have something you'd like to share?
Just a couple of things after listening. For the workday at the senior center, if you let us know as early as possible, it will be, we'll get more of a response when we go and ask for volunteers.
I'll set it up next week and get back to you.
Okay,
For
so-
Kiwanis and Rotary, are you Sunrise or regular Rotary?
I'm thinking that might be a better fit for the Rotary. There's more of a workforce
Okay.
with Rotary.
Are you Sunrise or regular Rotary?
I am a member of the afternoon Rotary, but Sunrise and Rotary work together. Both Rotary
Okay.
clubs work
Yeah,
together.
And Rosemary suggested we could get the high schoolers, the
Yeah,
interactors
yeah,
involved, and,
yeah.
and so we're
Yeah.
getting that group going.
Yeah.
And along with that, remember that service clubs do need people to join them and engage in the work that the service clubs do. And when we do fundraisers, it's always good to support the service club fundraisers so that we have money and then we have workforce to do things that the city of San Clemente, the community, asks us to do. So just quickly, there's a fundraiser coming up with Kiwanis. I'll just pass this around so that you can just look at it, and there's an RSVP here if anyone wants to participate, and that's for you, Dick.
Okay.
And then moving along, I was very impressed with the safe parking program that was presented here at Human Affairs. And my request was that if y'all were impressed with that you might want to recommend to city council to instruct city staff to look into that relationship with Jewish Family Services, just to see if that's a possibility of bringing that back to San Clemente, but it doesn't sound like that's gonna be part of your work plan. So I can move on and ask another group to work with the Homeless Collaborative, to work with those in the community that might be interested in bringing safe parking to San Clemente, because the problem of homeless sleeping in their cars, sleeping in their vehicles seems to be increasing, and it seems like there is more of a concern about safe neighborhoods,
She emailed me
public
that,
safety with people sleeping in their cars. But I'll move on with that one. And then, and it doesn't sound like Human Affairs is going to get very involved with homeless strategies or homeless issues. And I understand that you have a lot of other priorities that you're working on with Human Affairs. But looking ahead, we do have inclement weather coming up, and right now, San Clemente does not have a plan for shelter beds or beds for inclement weather. And the homeless in San Clemente don't have access to shelter or beds when we do have the terrible weather. So I don't know if Human Affairs is going to get engaged in that or not. And if not, that's something that that we can just go and bring our case before City Council. It would be nice if Human Affairs could get engaged in some of these issues, but maybe it's more of
I
a
think, the
public
council
safety.
has a subcommittee on homeless issues now. It's Mark and I, and so that we're supposed to be dealing with these things. And as you know, we are trying to deal with some of them, or at least investigate them. So, email Mark and I and with your ideas, Donna, and we'll move forward with them.
With the homeless subcommittee instead of human affairs.
That's why, I think that's why we put the thing in, is
I think
they've
that's
got
great.
issues, that they can certainly address quicker than solving all these others, so.
And maybe public safety will get more.
Public safety, some issues there too that they will be looking at.
Okay, thank you for that.
So that's all I have, and thank you.
Thank you, Donna. We appreciate you attending and we appreciate your input. Anything from committee members and staff? Do we have anything else? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so we were successful in getting September designated as Service Clubs Month, and I'd like to thank Donna Madreen for recruiting a bunch of representatives from service clubs around town, including Kiwanis and many others, and also all the city council and Laura Campagnolo for helping out and getting that proclamation delivered to the service clubs. Hopefully it'll be an annual thing, and as Donna said, service clubs need all the support, and especially in a community like ours. Service clubs are kind of the lifeblood of the community in so many ways. We do a lot, and it's cool to get some recognition for everybody. And we do need more people joining service clubs. So that's the reason for the recognition, is to have awareness of the fact that they're out there.
I think that's phenomenal and a lot of people don't know what they are.
Yeah,
So for you to be able to communicate that out and say, hey, come help,
yeah,
it's really very helpful. People don't know, I mean, we don't know what we don't know, right? So if people want to get involved, that's excellent that you're doing that. Okay, so I think with that, everyone, I'd like to thank you all for robust, constructive, attentive presence today and a great conversation. And I think we have a really solid work plan to move forward with to present to City Council. You're going to send me, Miss Janet, the cleaned up version, and then I'll review it all and make sure we're in good shape to go.
So
right?
I was hoping that each work group lead could send me the cleaned up version. I can put it all in the packet.
Sure.
I'll send you a draft staff report that you can.
And then I'll wordsmith it. Then if I'm allowed to reach out to the head of each of the work groups if clarification is required.
Correct.
I will take that on. That's
Got it.
perfect. I don't think
And
there's going to be a lot that I don't understand, but just in case, I want to fairly and accurately represent these great ideas.
we'll need all of that complete and ready to send to the clerk's office next Friday.
Okay, just send me that and I'll jump on it right away.
Right. So and then it'll
And
be on
what
the.
really works is when you text my cell phone and say check city email, because I can't unfortunately put it on my phone and I work
Got it.
away from an office during the day. Yes, and it's very helpful.
And it'll be October 3rd.
Thank
So I
you.
know it says adjourning to the next meeting, but the council meeting will be October
It's not
3rd.
October 10th.
Well,
Oh, we're October
We're
10th.
October 10th.
we're October 10th, but the council meeting
Council's October 3rd.
for the work plan item.
As they're listed, as I see them in Microsoft Outlook, are they, can they be edited?
The work plan items?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. The Microsoft Word, it's a Word document. You can
Oh, is
You
edit.
just have to click, if
Okay.
it's locked, you just have to click enable editing and it'll let you make changes.
Yeah, so the Word
When you
document.
I
open
haven't
it up.
tried yet, I just,
When you open it up, it may not let you click on it and make changes. Just on the upper portion it says enable editing, click that. and you
when
can
I
see
ask
the
dumb
changes.
questions, I like to do
Yep.
it in a crowd,
Yeah,
so
that works.
everybody knows.
So just edit the Word version, send us the Word, then we'll flip it into the PDF when we're ready to send.
Excellent. Okay, we stand formally adjourned. Thank you, everybody.